Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia. Here on my channel, I love affordable fashion and beauty. I'm feeling very strangely, like eccentrically fashion forward-ish today, but I'm kind of like really digging this makeup. I did it for a collab on Instagram, so you guys be sure that you follow me over there to see what this is all about. But what am I doing today? Today I'm doing another one of those. I picked out actually 20 palettes out of my collection. And these are the palettes that I'm going to use for the next month, and then I will come back after a month and review them for you guys. Now, last time I did this video, and you can go check it out, I'll have it linked down below, I picked out 17 untouched palettes. Now, most of these in this 20 are untouched as well. There are a few, including the one that I'm wearing today, that I had used one time and I wanted to use it a second time, or maybe there's a palette in here that I just really want to use before the holidays are over. So I might as well just show you guys this one. This is the Pacifica Stellar Gaze palette. You guys, would you ever guess this was Pacifica? Like the clean vegan beauty brand Pacifica. And this is the gorgeous eye look that I got from it. So I've used this palette one other time, and I also love the Magical Animals, the other one that's a layout similar to this, but it's a little bit more mauve tones in it and some more neutrals than this. This definitely has a lot of blues and purples in here, but the quality is freaking phenomenal. If you have not checked out their eyeshadows that are in this bigger palette formula, the little tiny palette, I did declutter that one. Don't bother with that, but these larger palettes from Pacifica, so underrated. Like the shimmers are, I mean, look, the shimmers are outstanding. Okay, next up for the month, I am going to use this Mora Time to Shine Celestial Series palette. Hello. Can we just admire the embossing? Let me get closer again. Like, this color story is absolutely gorgeous, and the shimmers look incredible. Also, in that same series, I'm going to be using the Endless Moonlight. Wait for it. This looks so much like the new Makeup by Mario palette to me. Does it not? Except for I think you get a few more shades maybe. And this is a fraction of the price. Again, I have not tried these yet, but all the Mora palettes that I have, and I have, gosh, I'm looking at them right now, but I probably have like 12. They're all that I've tried outstanding, and these color stories are gorgeous. And it also came in beautiful, like foiled, like wings that opened packaging. Crazy. All right, then I'm going to be trying out the Tartiste Pro Remix palette. So this is funny. Before Tarte blew up again, before it had its resurgence with the Man-Eater After Dark palette, before I fell in love with that palette, I was like, you know what? I want to give Tarte a chance, because I had always seen this palette. I'd used Shape Tape before, and I think a mascara and an eyeliner, but I really hadn't dove into Tarte, and I missed the like beginning of Tarte's popularity years ago. So I saw this palette and I was like, this is pretty. Every time I would see it, I'm like, that's Tarte, because I always thought of Tarte as being kind of basic, and you know, so I ended up ordering this palette, but I haven't touched it yet because I then fell super in love with Tarte. I have tons. I need to do a best of Tarte video because their face products, they're my favorite mainstream, they're not really, I wouldn't call them expensive, but they're not drugstore. They're my favorite brand right now. Excuse me. Face products wise and everything. So I wanted to test this one out to see if I like it as much as the Man-Eater After Dark. And as we know, or have heard, if you haven't tried it, that formula is incredible. So we'll see if that one is as good. Now, one of the reasons why I do this new series of testing these things out is if you missed my decluttering video, please go watch it. I decluttered 67 palettes, and trying out palettes in my collection, because I had 500. that I hadn't touched yet really helps me know what to keep, what to get rid of. And so some of these I did not declutter because I hadn't tried them yet. And this might be part of a like second decluttering video. And this is the I Heart Revolution popcorn palette. I have several of these. I did declutter one that was like the peanut butter one because I didn't like the color story, but I have used a few of them in my collection, not all of them. This is one I have not used, and I thought this was kind of pretty for winter. So we will test her out. Then we have Pinky Rose Cosmetics. Now, I have tried the 80s or 90s palette. It's one of those decades, and I did like it. And this color story is gorgeous. Like, look how pretty that is. I love these, like, it reminds me of like a Glam Light palette, something like that. Maybe even like the Scooby-Doo one that came out. Similar colors in here. So we will test it out to see if Exotic Peacock, if this is as good as the other one of theirs I tried. Then we have a Colored Rain Cosmetics. That is one of my favorite underrated brands. And I have, I think, all the palettes pretty much now because she ran crazy sales. I have tons of her lipsticks. I don't know if she's like rebranding in a way because she put everything dirt cheap. And I took advantage of it whenever she did that. So this is the Neutral Chic. And look at this. Look at those shimmers. Hello. Now the Queen Bee palette was one of my favorite palettes from 2022 of hers. Phenomenal. And this looks like a great companion piece to that. So yeah, I'm excited. Very excited to try that. All right, It's Belle Cosmetics has become one of my favorite brands. I love the cool summer palette. I love the blush palette. I'm wearing it today. I've been wearing it almost every single day for like over a month. And this is to the Dawn of Fall palette. Like, look how beautiful. I've had this one for a while. I don't know why I sat on it. She is so pretty, but I've just become such a huge fan. I love the formula, so I know I'm probably going to fall in love with that one. All right, this is new to me, the Shroud Cosmetics Arcana palette. So I've never tried anything Shroud, and I did, full disclosure, got this off of Mercari. I did not buy it new because I've heard mixed things. I've heard that the mattes aren't great, that the shimmers are really nice. I've heard some interesting things about just dealing with the brand, period. So I didn't want to pay full price. And if I fall in love with the formula, then I may dive in more. But this is just to kind of test it out and compare to some of my others. All right, we have this is so chunky. This is the Pretty Rich Too Faced palette. And I had always admired this palette from afar. And Too Faced, like, is a brand that I used to love. Like, I'd say 3 years ago, it was one of my favorite brands. Now that I've tried so much more and like, I don't know, there's still some fun things, but like I understand some people's concerns with the brand, but some are undeniably really good too. And I just thought this color story was always the most beautiful, like cool tone, neutral with like little pops in there, like that blue and pink. So we'll see if this is as good as I've always hoped it would be. We have the Stay Fuego Mexico City palette from She Glam. I have a lot of She Glam palettes. I have a ton of She Glam products, period, and have ever since they first started. And I will probably do a best of She Glam video in the next month or so. But I've never tried out this palette that I have. And not all palettes, though, from She Glam are created equal. And I want to see if that's one I want to keep or get rid of. Now, these are both from Milan Row, and I bought both of them whenever I got the Poison Ivy palette. It was a collab palette with, was this Doodles by the Bunny? Yes, Doodles by the Bunny. I loved her collab with Gourmand Girls. Fantastic. The Spooked palette was one of my favorite palettes also of 2022. And I do have an affiliate code with Gourmand Girls. It's down below. I don't make money off of it. But if you guys want to save some money, it is down there. But this always looks so pretty to me. I mean, Doodles by the Bunny does a great job on her palette creations in her mind. And this one came to fruition. And I went ahead and got the Iconic Couture at the same time. We did have one shade that's kind of busted in here. But I've heard very mixed things about this formula. Actually, mainly more not so good, but you know, sometimes you can make a formula work that other people can't. So I definitely want to give it a shot. Then we have the Ace Beauté Fall For You palette. A lot of people got this in Ipsy or Boxy, I believe, whenever it launched. I did not have Ipsy or Boxy at the time, so I actually bought this myself and have just been sitting on it to try. Then we have the BH Cosmetics Paris palette. Still has the cover. I'm sure all of you have seen it. Obviously, this is not new at all, but BH, I love. That's another brand that I claim that I'm like, I knew them. So like the Zodiac palette. This wasn't even my first BH palette, and I've had this for like 5-6 years maybe, which I know BH has been around a little bit longer than that, but I've been using BH for like at least 6 years. And but the Paris palette used to not be my color story. Like I was scared of blues and greens, and now obviously I love them. So I scooped this one up a while back. Then this is not a first time. This is probably like a third or fourth time. This is the Sydney Grace, and this is the Temptalia Quintessential Deep palette. And I pulled this out because of the dark smoky tones and like the silver shimmer in here and the blacks. Like for New Year's time, I think this is perfect. And Sydney Grace, if you don't already know, it is it's in my top 5 favorite formulas, maybe even top 3. One of my favorite brands, love it so much. This is the Nudie Patootie palette by Laura Lee Los Angeles. I have tried the Candy Skies palette, really liked it. And, you know, I'm not like, I do love neutrals. I like to switch it up. And I just think this one is so, so pretty. And between this one and like the Mora one that I showed you guys and Lunar Beauty, like I think I'm good on a lot of like really good neutral palettes. Then I think these are the last 3. So, all right. This is the ZC British Museum Alice in Wonderland palette. I'm not sure which, let's see. We're all mad here. So this is stunning. And the reason why I've never touched it, and I've had it for like a year and a half, is because it's so stunning. Like, I don't want to mess it up, but I think it's time. I'll probably do a TikTok where I'm like touching new, like pretty makeup, and it makes you go like, ugh. But it's just, it's a work of art. I have the Alice Through the Looking Glass one as well. And I have tested that one and I liked it. Like, you know, the makeup in Asian makeup is just different. Like, it's not as in your face. It's not going to be this pigment right here. But I think there's something to say for like the gorgeous like aesthetics that they have, and that it's light and just kind of romantic. So I enjoyed the brand myself. Now last 2. Okay, Lit List BH Cosmetics. I've actually used this one a couple of times, but I'm putting it in here because it's Christmas palette, maybe my favorite Christmas palette that I own. I got it last year. I thought it was so underrated because the Naughty palette was also phenomenal, and it got a lot of buzz a couple of years ago. And I do have a busted shade in here I need to press, but this one was stunning. Everyone talked about it. And then the Lit List, people didn't really pay that much attention. My dog is going crazy over something. She does that. But this one was so good, and I just want to use it for the holidays before they're over. The very last palette we have in here is the probably most hyped and talked about palette of 2022 that I heard about. This is the Cosmic Brushes Serenity palette. Here she is in all of her gorgeous glory. And these purples and greens in here, just, I mean, something I would have never touched even like 2 or 3 years ago because I was scared of too much color. And now I love it all. I want to try it all. I've heard this formula is incredible. It's very affordable. So I got this one, and also the more bright pink orange palette that she has. And I'm just really excited to probably fall in love with that brand. But that is it, you guys. Those are the 20 palettes that I'm going to be focusing on for the next month. and I will come back after I've used them all, give you my review, let you know if I'm going to keep them all, declutter some, if I think some, you know, if I'm just like, you have to get this one or you can skip this one. So that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe. I'm growing. It makes me really happy that I stuck with it. I appreciate you guys. And as always, have fun shopping. Budget shopping.